Yep.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Conservation Inland and Wetlands Watercourse Agency meeting on today, World Water Day. My name is Frank Bergano. I'll be chairing the meeting tonight. To my right is Dave Perkins, our town planner, Marie Diamond, one of the counselors on the town council, Ashley Joyner to my left, Jerry Fishbach, and Michelle Pollack, who is our secretary. So I call the meeting to order. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let's see if I can find my agenda. Okay, so the first item is the approval of the agenda. I have a couple of additions that I'd like to request adding to the agenda. Under Wetlands Enforcement Officers Report, I'd like to add item D, Earth Day discussion, and also item E, discussion on the conservation report for the disc golf course, which will be that the Park District is proposing along the Farm River. Is that what, can I get a motion to add those items?
I'll move to add those items.
Yeah, I'm going to add them to the agenda. I'm going to add them to the agenda.
Under 6D and E.
So it'll be 6D and E. So 6D would be Earth Day discussion, and 6E would be the Park District disc golf course.
And Jerry
So
motioned.
moved
And I'll
to add
second.
them.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so
Aye.
the next item is the approval. Why is this so
Yeah, it's
echoing?
like echoing and feedback.
The next item is the approval of the minutes of January 25th and February 22nd. And I have some corrections, if I can find them, to the minutes. Of January 25th, which I will take and give you my redlined version, Michelle, so you have it.
Okay.
But on page 2, the third sentence down, where it says the lawyer's opinion should really read the town attorney's opinion. And then I reworded a sentence halfway down that began because of this town.
Take out of this town.
Yeah, I take out because of this town, and I put North Branford has, let's see, how do they word it? For the Farm River, North Branford has adopted a 200-foot buffer. And then at the bottom of page 2, as he wanted to use this bridge for the solar farm. And then I also have a number of the items in here are actually quotes. They're not, because they're statements. They should be quoted. So I've redlined all the places where there should be quotes. There's just too many to go through.
Okay.
All right, and
Did I do this meeting?
no,
I didn't.
you did not do this.
It's not zoning.
No, you did not.
You did not.
And
Thank goodness.
and then there were some other grammatical errors in here that I just corrected. So I will hand this to you so you have them. Does anyone else have any additions or corrections to the January 25th meeting minutes?
Same ones I found.
Okay, so can we have a motion to approve the as amended, the January 25th meeting minutes?
I move to amend the January 25th meeting minutes
As amended.
And approve them as amended.
and approve them as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then next is the March 22nd meeting minutes.
February 22nd.
February 22nd meeting minutes. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes of February 22nd.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, then we now move to item number 4, old business application, number 2022-19, 626 Forest Road site plan, proposed depositing of clean fill in a drainage ditch after the fact within 200 feet of the Farm River. Owner applicant Chris Ann and Richard Voigt.
So I've worked with Chris Ann since the last meeting, and we've combined the town engineer's comments with the check dam and the riprap splash pad in coordination with a map where we've laid out the actual activities.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I've drawn up a motion for your approval or discouragement or whatever to approve the after-the-fact activities to take care of the situation.
Are we going to have any kind of presentation with maps and pictures of
Well,
what?
they're all in your hand. I mean, Chris Ann can present them if you'd like, but
Yep, I
think
got
they're
that.
self-explanatory.
So I guess the first question I have is, how is this addressing, because this is, we just saw this tonight.
Correct.
First of all, the check dams are gonna be how many bales of hay? I'm assuming it's bales of hay as the town engineer spoke about.
Correct. There's a diagram in the staff engineer's report showing what the check dam would look like.
And it's 3 bales in the engineer's report.
Correct.
All right, so you're gonna follow exactly what the engineer
Correct.
recommended, okay. And, what about the, issue of dispersion of the water as it comes out the culvert? How's that gonna be addressed?
Well, I'll have Chris Ann address that. It would just be sort of a riprap splash pad.
Is that
There is no actual diagram of what it would look like.
is that detailed in here, how that's gonna be done?
No.
No. Shouldn't it be?
Yes.
How it's gonna be accomplished?
Yes.
We gotta call into the state to see if they'll pay for the rock. Okay?
But,
I mean, we can come up with a state erosion control riprap splash pad profile, if that's what you require.
because I would think that would make it a complete package, this way we can get it done. Because otherwise, all we're doing tonight is putting in the barriers, right, the check dams, but we're still not addressing the cause of the problem.
No.
Well, the cause of the problem in terms of the velocity of the water that's coming
Right.
from the road. I
Right,
mean, I can work with the applicant to develop a engineered plan if that's what you wish to accomplish that fact.
what do you all think?
The map, I mean, the map basically says it's a 20-foot long, 10-foot wide splash pad.
It says 20 by 8.
20 by 8, okay.
I guess I'm looking at this motion, and, I mean, I'm just scanning it. It doesn't, it doesn't specify in the motion exactly what they're going to be doing. Does it? I don't see it. Talk about an anti-track pad.
Well, those are the conditions. I believe that it's really referencing the engineer's plan.
Where does it say there? All settlement, I said inspected by the town engineer.
Yeah, I don't see anything about the splash pad in there at all.
It doesn't say anything about the town engineer's plan in this at all.
In the motion,
Right.
Nope.
Doesn't say anything about the splash pad either.
as adding riprap splash pad as detailed in engineer's memo dated 2/21/2023.
Where
Where
does it
is
say
that?
it? Do you have a different one?
In the motion,
Yeah, I'm looking at the motion you gave us.
there's a second line.
We don't have that.
We don't have that. I don't have that. Oh, I'm reading down here. Let's see. The
Where?
site plan application for filling the
Oh,
swale and
that's
adding
this one.
riprap splash pad as the detailed and engineer
It's up here.
stated. Okay, it's in the up above. I was reading down here.
Yep.
You have any questions, Jerry?
No, I'd like to say something about this. I've been on this commission for nearly 15 years now, and never have I ever been asked to approve any kind of plan whereby we have requested a site plan and have been denied one. We've never been denied in my history here access to seeing a piece of property and having a site walk. So here I'm being asked to approve a plan that on a piece of property that I haven't seen. I've been told that I could see it from the road.
The relevant aspect of the plan can be
State
seen
water,
from
that's
the
all.
road.
Excuse me, can you please come up to the microphone and identify yourself?
Yes, I'm Chris Anvo. The pertinent fact of, the pertinent part of what we're gonna do is very visible from the road.
The pertinent fact is
Yeah,
that,
is that we're putting a
that you're
splash
asking,
pad.
you're asking me to approve something that I haven't been able to actually have access to actually get a good look at it. I've seen topographical or aerial pictures of the area, and I get an impression from that as to what it had been. And now there's this plan to put in riprap and all kinds of things. I'm not sure why this is an improvement over had we done nothing to begin with, or why, had we worked together from the beginning, we couldn't have come up with something better.
Yes,
But I'm being asked to
absolutely
approve
true.
this, and I'm not even allowed to really look at it. I would like to walk it.
The town planner has walked it.
That's not me, though. I've never been denied access whenever a site walk was requested in the past, it's always been granted. And in this case, it's not. And the nature of the negotiations that have gone on in the last 2 months' meetings have just been less than amicable. So
Yes.
I just don't feel real good about this.
I'm sorry your feelings got hurt.
Well, my feelings aren't hurt, I just don't feel good about it. And I'm sorry you feel that way.
Richard
I said
Vogt.
what I need to.
Jerry, it's the state's water that's going on my property. So the problem is with the state, not me. I'm not creating the water problem on my property. The state is. Okay, there's no easement there, Jerry,
I
for them to let water onto my property, period. So they're trespassing water onto my property, garbage, oil, whatever. She was there today, picked up a whole bag of garbage that washed off from the road. So they're creating a trespass. So, the state is with you guys, if you ask me.
I understand what you're saying. I have property also with significant road frontage.
Yeah.
And it's not that the garbage washes off the road on my property, it's that people just throw the garbage.
Understandable,
You know, so
but they throw it
I
out the
feel-
window,
I feel with
and then
you.
it goes down the road,
But-
into the drain, and it washes onto my property.
But isn't that an issue between you and the state?
You're the one with the problem with the water here. This is what we're going through. You take it up with the state to stop the water
How?
from coming onto my property. Or,
Well, maybe I would
I
understand.
gotta call into the state now, where they're gonna come, and either I get my $650 back for this permit, that was crazy, that I didn't need in the first place, and I'll,
And-
put it towards the state, is gonna put rock in there. You understand, Jerry?
And I was also the one who suggested 2 months ago that you do not file, that you don't even submit an application.
That was my wife caved because you guys made her afraid. All
Please,
right?
please.
So,
You guys made her afraid.
Please.
okay. But still,
But it's a very simple problem to success. We're gonna put riprap at the top, we're gonna put hay bales, we're gonna reseed it, we're gonna bring in more loam to fill it up nice and level, and end this subject. When it rains, it's gonna come through the grass, all nice.
so what is the problem?
50 years
What is the
ago-
problem with the sidewalk?
What do you need a sidewalk for? For what? What do you wanna see? Is the deceased lifted on me or not?
All right.
I think that probably the biggest objection is, if now we have to schedule a sidewalk, we're gonna be revisiting this next month.
But we could have done this right from the start.
We couldn't have, because you weren't here.
You weren't here.
If you
This guy here, over here on my left, has gone above and beyond, and I commend him for being so nice. Okay, I want to let that known. Thank you, David.
Well, I said my piece.
So is my cease and desist lifted? I'm going to do what I think
That's not,
is
that's
right.
not part of what this motion right
okay,
now
okay.
is, this part.
I know what to do
strictly-
is right, Chair.
This, what we're
It's not my
talking,
first one. I have 5 properties in town. I've taken abandoned houses in this town, and I've spent over $1 million on these houses.
excuse me, we're talking, we want to stay focused on, we
Okay.
have limited time and we have another
Okay?
people behind you. We want to stay focused on this. So you're giving us assurances as the town planner and wetlands officer that they are going to follow exactly
We're going
what's
to do
needed here.
what's right. That's all we're going to do is what's right.
It's an application, and we will enforce the application.
Okay, and to you directly,
Well, I'd like my $640 back for a permit that I didn't have to take in the first place
Well, that-
because it's
that's-
private
that-
property.
It's outside of what we're please, we don't want to, we want to get this, we don't
Right.
want to get this sidetracked. Please,
Okay.
let's stay focused on what we're supposed to do here tonight, please. Because right now, that's all we want to do is to try to get this resolved for you to get your land back to the state it's going, that you want it to be in, and to get the water from flowing as a river down the center of your property, but more dispersed. So we're just trying to work with you. We're not trying to
Yeah, I
argue with you,
understand.
okay? So you're gonna take responsibility to make sure it's done right,
Yes, sir.
okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Right, and then one last question for you, Mrs., just for my own peace of mind, is that you do understand that the bulk of your property is within the 200-foot buffer, and if you want to do anything, build something, tear something down, whatever, you need to work through the town planner, who's the wetlands agent, to find out if you need a
Yes,
permit
I
or not. You
understand.
understand that,
I do
okay?
understand.
You've read all the laws that I presented to you, right? So
We
you're wrong on
also,
that.
we know what the regulations for
They
this
don't
town are.
count.
They do,
They do
sir.
count.
They,
Then send me a letter and show me how they
This
count.
is why.
Sir, this is why we're reluctant to approve this, because of you not wanting to understand the laws of the state of
You're not wanting to
Connecticut.
understand the Constitution of the United
This
States.
has nothing to do with that. This has to do with the laws of the state of Connecticut. The state of Connecticut Inland Wetlands Act gives us, 169 municipalities in the state authority to act on this. If you have any issues, talk to your state representative and state senator,
Oh, I will.
not to us.
I will.
'Kay, that's what I would recommend you do.
I'd like to
And
talk
tell
to
them
the
to
town
repeal
attorney.
the Inland Wetlands Act.
I-
That's what you should tell them to do.
Trust me.
Okay, good. Good luck with that.
But it also means not clearing any more brush along the
Yeah,
river.
so you can't clear brush along the river, because we drive by it. We're seeing what you do, and we're gonna
It's my
watch.
property.
You
I
still
don't care,
can't
you're within
clear
the
the
200-foot buffer. You're in the 200-foot wetland review area.
I'll prove to you
Understand
that.
what the law, understand the law, sir. Understand the law, okay?
I'm gonna inform you that.
All right, so let's move on, because I don't want to get off track. What do we want to do with this?
I don't want to do anything.
Ashley?
I'm ready to move on it.
Okay, so am I.
Okay?
All right, I move to approve application 2022-19, site plan application for filling the swale and adding riprap splash pad as detailed in engineer's memo dated 2/21/23 with location shown on site map, site plan map titled riprap splash pad and check dam locations, March 2023 at 626 Forest Road, map 58, lot D2, owner Christian and Richard Vogt. Application, Christian and Richard Vogt, as contained in submitted application documents with the following conditions, standard conditions 1 through 11. But I want to add that the conservation markers are going to be posted on the property where they cannot clear anywhere to the river. And you're gonna have to go out and figure out where that is. And since you're guaranteeing that they are going to go by the conditions, that's gonna be in here
So
too.
within the 200-foot buffer,
Yeah, they're going to have to mark it.
I understand, but within the 200-foot buffer, right?
Within the
At the mark.
100, the 100-foot,
The 100-foot?
yes.
Okay, 100-foot, fine. This way, they understand they can't go beyond that.
Yeah,
I'll second the motion.
Can you second the motion? You're
Okay.
running the meeting.
Oh, all right, so can you second?
No.
All right. You won't second it.
No, because I don't see that anything we're doing today is going to make any difference.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, so we're at, what do we do? We're at a
you can
standstill?
second.
No, I can't, because
Why
I'm
not?
running,
Who's running the meeting?
I'm running the meeting.
Why not? The president can do whatever any other member can do.
Not according to Robert's rules, you're not supposed, if you're running a meeting, you're not supposed to make the second.
But she would know, so I can't make the second. So that means this stays pat until the next meeting?
Then I want to, because the approval period expires March 22nd, we need to extend it.
This
I'm
says
sorry.
that the chairman can vote in a meeting, but there are restrictions depending on the size and characteristics of the meeting.
Right, but can they second a motion?
The chair can vote when it affects the result.
We know that they can vote, can they second?
I'm still looking. Doesn't say.
I know typically the chair doesn't second.
Mhm.
Right.
Is she looking it up?
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't find that. It says about voting, but
And then if I did second it, and then I didn't vote to approve it,
It would be 2-1 and it would still pass.
yeah.
well, I think every motion has a right to be heard, to be second.
Did we second it?
so I will second it.
Okay, so put down that Jerry seconded the motion. Thank you, Jerry.
You're welcome.
Is there any further
I'd like to say that I just feel like if you were willing to work with us a little bit better, I'd be more willing to work with you.
Jerry, you want to come over and look?
I-
Come over and look.
I do want to come over and look.
Can I address this? We got off on the wrong foot. It was largely my fault. I should have stopped him. I didn't do it. We are now trying to
Okay.
make everything okay.
Please,
It's-
we were trying to work with you to get
Right.
this done. We
We're
don't wanna
trying,
do
we're
a
trying to
husband and
get this
wife thing.
done,
Okay.
even
Please.
though I feel like it isn't gonna make a darn bit of difference to, I'm gonna say your husband, as far as whether, you'll do what you wanna do because you feel it's your constitutional right, and, no matter what we say tonight, it isn't gonna make a damn bit of difference as far as what you're gonna do. Am I correct in saying that?
It'll make a difference to me.
Well, anyways, I second the motion.
All right, is there any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, you want to do a roll call vote? Would you please do a roll call vote for this?
Member Bergano?
Yes.
Member Joyner?
Yes.
Member Fishback?
Abstain.
Okay, so the motion passes. Okay,
So it says the chair has the same right to make or second a motion or to debate as other board members. So you could have made the motion.
okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
well,
Well, it
abstain.
doesn't make any difference, we got it done. All right, so the next item on the agenda is the cease and desist at item 4B, cease and desist at 626 Forest Road for illegal filling of wetlands or water course without a permit.
I move to lift the cease and desist at 626 Forest Road.
I second that, if I can. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the cease and desist is lifted. Can I don't know if this is appropriate or not, because it's, would it be appropriate if I gave the people here the draft of what we prepared tonight on what the Inland Wetlands Water Act is and water courses?
Sure.
So this is a document that we've been working on. I think you've heard, if you stayed at the end of the meeting, you heard about it, where we're putting together for the town of North Branford a homeowner's guide as to the Inland Wetlands Watercourse Act and what it entails. It says draft. This is strictly a draft. No one on this board has approved it. I wrote it with a friend of mine who is an environmental attorney, who's worked with the Inland Watercourse Act for lots of years. So I want to give this to you. Again, it's a draft, but it explains the history of the Inland Wetlands Act, that it's 50 years old, et cetera. So if I can please give this to you. Please take it in the spirit that it's meant to be, is in goodwill to resolve issues with
Yeah,
us.
well, we're gonna look at this.
Please will give one to your wife.
Yes, I will. But under the Constitution of the United States, you have no jurisdiction in it by the law.
Honey,
Please.
Okay,
I'm not going to debate it.
Okay,
But just remember that there are certain rules reserved to the state in the Constitution, and this is one of those rules that's reserved to the state, and so the state
I
allows
understand
us
that.
to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And again, it's strictly a draft. It's the last item the next to last item that we're going to talk about tonight, and I'm sure it's going to be edited many times. Okay, so under new business, request for jurisdictional ruling 418 Forest Road, jurisdictional ruling is installation of electrical conduit and trench, owner applicant Di Francisco and Son Incorporated.
So this is the brewery, right?
Yes.
So I'm Joe DiFrancesco, owner of the property, and what we're doing is just trying to go green. So we put a conduit across the field to put a plug on from one side of the field to the other side of the field. I guess you have the information.
That's pretty much it.
And that's it. We literally just took dirt off, put the conduit in, and put the dirt right back in, so I didn't think I was doing much, because everything's back to where it was prior.
Right, but
There's a
everything
farm-
within wetland still needs application,
And
even if it's a farm.
piece You know, we were farming it, so I didn't think we were moving anything that was
Yeah.
off.
And that removes the diesel engine that was on the property, is that what it does?
Yes.
Perfect.
And nothing stays, I mean, the irrigation pump gets put there, the few days it gets used a year and removed. It's literally it's literally putting a plug in.
Okay. Do we have a motion for this?
We have a jurisdictional ruling to determine whether it's an exempt activity based on the exemption of
Farming.
from a regulated activity.
Okay. And I'm assuming you put it deep enough down that when you till the soil or whatever, it's no issues, right?
Oh, it's 5 feet, yes.
Oh, okay.
5 feet?
Yeah.
Is that required, or why,
Yes.
why do you go
They're
so
gonna-
deep?
Because our tilling equipment can hit 3.5 feet,
Okay.
so,
Okay,
yes,
want
we had to make
all
sure
right.
it was below any,
Gotcha.
possibility. And it's not a full, I mean, it's not a whole meter going down there, it's literally a plug that's going down the other end.
So how do we react? This is the first time I've ever seen a jurisdictional ruling, so how do we
So
handle
you
this?
can rule that the activity is permitted as of right as an agricultural activity. and
As
it
of
doesn't
four
need a
point
permit.
one in the North
Okay.
Branford Inland
Or we
Wetlands
would've-
regulations.
Do you want to make a motion then for that?
Okay, so I move to approve the electrical conduit at 418 Forest Road in accordance with North Branford Inland Wetlands Regulation 4.1 with the right-of-way of farms to improve exclusively for farming purposes.
Okay, I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
I think
That was
you
on-
could just.
That was
you
on
could
the
just-
fly, come on.
I think to make it simple, you could just rule that it's an exempt activity as an agricultural activity.
Fine, Michelle, you can do that.
Yeah,
Okay, so any
I'll
further?
second that too.
As a regulated farm activity, you said? Exempt the activity as a
Yes, in
Right.
four
As
point
an
one.
agricultural activity.
Yep.
agricultural, okay.
Any further discussions on this?
I just want to say that even though it's an exempt activity, you still have to come before us when you do anything within the wetlands, okay?
You just need a jurisdictional ruling.
Okay.
And you can call
Like I said,
the,
wasn't aware of, because like I said, I didn't even come out of my field. Like, if I was gonna go further into like the brush or the side, I would have thought of something like, but staying in the field, I thought, but learning is learning.
it's always a good idea to just call my office and avoid all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, the document we just handed out, we mentioned that multiple times about start by calling the town planner to find out, so. But anyway, can we have a motion? We
We
have a
did.
motion,
Yeah.
so all in favor?
Aye,
You're all set.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
thank you.
Okay, item number 6, Wetland Enforcement Officers Report. Number A, violation 213 Forest Road.
Did you go out there?
I actually was out there today,
It's a mess.
and I have drafted them a letter. I'm sorry, Frank, it doesn't say draft in that.
That's all right.
But it should say draft in the back.
Okay, we'll write that on here, draft.
There's been a excavator there with a dead tree next to it since I've arrived in town. And all of a sudden, that excavator was moving today and being put on a trailer, and the tree was gone, and it just happened to be one of those perfect moments when I could stop by, and the guy was in the truck, and the son was in the neighborhood, and I was like, what's going on? And they're like, well, we've been dealing with this for years, and the Wetlands Commission doesn't want us to do this, and we want to do this, and basically, as you know, it's a mess up there. So I've written them a letter saying, I want a plan.
And when we were in your office a couple months ago, when this first came up, you said that Connecticut Deep also had a complaint. You said that one of the neighbors also complained to Connecticut.
There was a complaint to
Connecticut
DEP, yes.
Right.
Right.
Did you talk about filling the trench that they dug that goes
I
directly from the
suggested
pond?
that, they need a plan. Maybe they want to fill that trench
They
somewhat.
dug that trench just to drain the pond.
I'm sorry.
They dug the trench just to drain the pond.
I don't know what they want to do. They don't really know what they want to do. So I basically said I want a plan by April 19th. And I'm more than willing to work with them over the next month, so when we get to our next meeting, I can give you some sort of a plan.
So,
Okay, so nothing's changed, but the letter has been drafted, and you're planning on sending this out?
Correct.
Okay.
And I did meet with them today and had meaningful conversations, but as I frequently say, it's difficult to push a wet noodle. And I'm definitely in that situation. So the only way to stay on top of it is to stay on top of these people weekly. So this is my first conversation in face with them, as well as my first mailing to them, and I'm giving them a deadline, and I always like giving deadlines.
okay. All right.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is item B, removal of culverts, 127th Forest Road / 363 Totucket Road. And I know you did send out a letter to Mr. DeLongo on February 22nd.
Correct, and there's been a lot of conversation since with his attorneys and all sorts of people. There's Lot 10 is supposed to have a right-of-way on it to the land trust to access the property. Lot 10's about to be getting they're requesting a certificate of zoning compliance. And I'm not about to give them a certificate of zoning compliance because the easement is not on the property. And furthermore, the land trust is not ready to take the property, which is part of the whole subdivision, that transaction be complete prior to Lot 10.
They're saying Lot 10 has a right-of-way over those culverts?
No.
No, to the back area where the culvert is. There's an easement.
Okay.
Because the land trust has
Right.
the access.
Once it's given to the land trust.
That's, I mean, it's
which-
for, but the easement you're talking about is for the land trust.
Correct.
Correct.
So there's a lot of pieces of the subdivision that need to fall together. The culvert's not part of the subdivision permit. That's a separate permit that you guys requested and got. It wasn't part of the subdivision. But the land trust is not about to accept the land with the culverts being in place. So there's sort of a quid pro quo that needs to happen for everything to take place.
So I'm a little surprised what you just said, because I thought the removal of the culverts
Was part of
was
the
a condition
Well,
of the subdivision.
But my question is, did it get written into the final,
No.
the final draft, that it had to be removed? I mean, the whole
Because that was
contingency.
supposed to be in there.
It was one of the items that was agreed upon in order to get approval of the entire subdivision.
Right.
Correct, but there's a separate application to remove the culverts.
Right, but was that written into the approval of the
Subdivision.
subdivision?
No.
Then we need to go back to the minutes because
Shame.
it belongs there.
But they're all tied together because the land trust isn't about to accept the land unless it's removed. So there's sort of a,
I understand, but it seems to me that if it were written up properly, that removal of the culverts was an item that had to be accomplished in order to have this subdivision, then no house in that subdivision should have received a certificate of occupancy until the project was done.
it would certainly make my life a whole lot easier, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I recall happened was that they asked for a delay to remove the culverts because of the solar farm.
We gra-
Which we grant.
We granted, but we
But
have
it's
to
still a
see, we have
condition
to
of
see
that
on the original
subdivision.
approval of subdivision, whether it's written in there.
Right.
And that gives us the grounds to require its removal before anything else happens.
Well, I'm, now that I have somebody actually applying for a certificate of zoning compliance, I have a chance to push it,
I wonder why the other.
and I'm willing to do that.
Can you check, though, on the original approval of that subdivision, whether it's written in there?
I'll
It
have to
was-
go back through the,
Mhm.
It was certainly
I've gone
discussed.
through it pretty thoroughly, and I believe that it was a totally separate.
Should have been right in the special conditions, I would have thought.
What year was that?
It
Yeah, I know.
probably,
I'm just looking it up.
19,
2019?
maybe a little earlier than
Yeah,
that. It could have
18 or
been
19.
17, 18, somewhere in there, 19.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I will follow through and use all my tools to see that it gets done. And all I'm reporting to you now is that we're in
Talks.
heavy discussions that it's really mandatory and it can't just wait.
Okay.
And I think that's what you're looking for, right?
Yeah. All right,
Thank
so
you.
I guess it's a work in progress,
We're getting closer.
getting closer. Okay, the next item is the discussion regarding the publication of the homeowner's guide to wetlands and buffer. I gave you all, I sent this electronically to you, and then Lynn was very nice to add draft to it and print it out. I'm not expecting you all to approve this tonight, but one thing that we thought is that once we got this done, and with your expertise in terms of making this fancy, that we make it into a publication and put it at all the public buildings here, like town hall, the libraries, the park district, wherever else,
Can
so
we-
that people could have access
Can we
to it.
price out it being an insert?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
But are you suggesting that it be put together into a pamphlet, sort of?
Yeah, that's what I was,
think
that's what we
a really
talked
good
about as
idea.
a pamphlet, but still, we gotta get the words approved. One thing that we didn't discuss first of all, this was not solely my work, this is based on the document that Donna Pertzley gave us, and
Greg Sharp.
Greg Sharp, who's the environmental attorney, helped me with this, that we put this together. One thing we didn't mention in here, because we thought it would cause confusion and something to think about, not decide tonight, the state of Connecticut defines wetlands based on soil type, and we don't mention anything in here about soil type. So we should think about that as to how to add that. And if you wouldn't mind, if you could give me comments, send them directly to me, and then I will, because I don't want to dump this on Lynn or Michelle or anyone else. If you can send them to me, I will edit the document as you see fit. And then the other thing I thought, if this went on the website, which I hope it does too, these blue lines are all hot links.
Right.
So whoever's going through the website can click it
Yeah,
and it
the
would go.
hyperlinks are great.
But we tried to point out, that a lot of it, that this is a state law. It's been a state law since 1972, so we're now going into the 51st year. And that how important the wetlands are for our environment, and even more so today with the issues of carbon in the air, and the wetlands are great carbon sinks to remove the carbon. So we just tried to point out the importance of wetlands and bring that front and center, and how they are regulated by the state. So if you wouldn't mind getting it back, but I think if you look at it, I'm really happy with it.
I think it looks great.
So, and I think it's easy to read, and we referenced pieces from the state of Connecticut website, and
I would be reluctant to make it longer.
No, I think it's too long as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
But
I don't argue with that, but I was afraid to make it too short.
some simple illustrations would be really good. For instance, you're talking about chemicals. I mean, if you had a picture of a bag of fertilizer with a
Yeah.
circle and a line through it, to be used in the
Well,
wetlands.
Dave said he was the graphics person, right? Did I
Yeah.
get that right?
It was
But-
one of the
So-
previous slides.
But a picture is worth a thousand words, so, I mean, if somebody's having trouble getting through the whole article and they see, don't do this, and, some
I mean, we can-
illustrations would be helpful.
We can have the full depth article, and then we could have the sort of condensed pamphlet view that
Yeah, exactly.
might be
For,
quicker
for
and
just,
shorter.
for distribution.
Right.
Yeah.
And a good leading to the next item, thank you, Jerry, is Earth Day, which I was hope we can have this done by Earth Day. Bill Savastini got in contact with me, and I always forget the name of the group. Yeah, the Hazard Waste Group is doing an Earth Day event at the opening day of Little League in North Branford, and we're gonna have a table there that the town is putting out. And it's about 1 to 2 hours. We'd have to be there at 8:30 in the morning to talk about the environment, talk about our commission and what we do. This would be something perfect to hand out, even if it's only in draft form. But if anybody'd like to join me to do that, to represent the IWWA, I would appreciate it.
When is it?
It's, you would ask that. It's Saturday, April 22nd, and it's at 8:30 in the morning.
Where?
Um,
The new
New
ballpark?
ball-
I guess it's the ballparks on,
By Park and Rec, or by the,
Usually it's the new ball fields.
yeah, okay,
it's the one by the police station.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's where I thought it was.
Okay.
And he said that we come in, then they do their opening ceremony, and the kids they all go play baseball.
Michelle, you have to say that I'm leaving the meeting. Okay?
Sorry.
I'm
Oh,
leaving the
yes.
meeting. I have to go.
Okay, thank you. And then the last item on the agenda is the Southwest Conservation District did not a walkthrough, they did a soil assessment of the proposed property that's Tutucket, is that Auger Farm on both sides, or Tutucket on one side, I forget. Anyway, they did a soil assessment of all of the proposed fairways, greens, and driving areas for the proposed disc golf course. They did an excellent job. The Southwest Conservation District is led by Chris Sullivan. Chris Sullivan is also the individual that led the study on the Farm River that our town was actively involved in. And they've gone through, identified where the wetlands are on page, well, they're not numbered, but on the photo 2, 3, and 4 indicates where there's wetlands. And I've been assured by the director of the Park District, Jessica Catano, that they will take and work with the town planner to make sure that the fairways and/or driving areas are adjusted so they're not in the wetlands. And then the other area that was a discussion was, remember, we thought there was a vernal pool in the property. I didn't walk down there. I think you walked down there because it was more than I could handle. And the report points out that it's not a vernal pool. It says it's during the wet season, it appears the area only ponds 1 inch of water, which is not deep enough to support amphibian breeding. Is likely a natural retention basin that accumulates drainage from adjacent fields. So I know you included with this in the package. Are you looking for action on this tonight?
No,
It was just informational?
It was just a point of information, that it got me up to speed with what's going on the last couple of years, and I had been aware of the disc golf course, but now I'm much more aware of it.
So I don't
And
think.
it seems as though you left a lot of details up to me to make it happen, so.
And it was precisely reading this is what makes me think that putting something into the informational pamphlet for the homeowners about soil types is probably, I mean, a lot of this is just over my head.
I know. That's why I was worried about putting in the soil types,
Right.
because I just thought it was gonna be too confusing.
I think so, too.
But technically, that is the law, it's,
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Right, but
It's difficult for people to understand because you
Yeah.
know, I say, that's a wetland. They go like, it never gets wet over there. I said, yeah, but it is a wetland. I can tell you've got, you know, all sorts of things growing over there. What's growing there doesn't even matter anyway. It's what's underground.
it was underground.
yeah.
So, anyway, I thought this, truthfully, my opinion of this is my opinion, of all the soil surveys we've had done, I think this is the best.
It's a nice report.
Yeah, I thought this was the best.
It was good.
Yeah, they did an excellent job. Anything else that we need to
They did a
discuss?
nice job mixing soil science with usability.
Yes, yeah, they did a great job. Anything else? Anybody have?
I have one approval that I did as an agent up at 69 Crossfield Road, which is sort of in southwestern North Branford. It's one of these maps that was done back when the wetland maps were done in the early 80s. And the whole place has been developed, so when you look at the wetland map, all the houses in the whole development are in a wetland. So either they filled it prior to the development, or the map was wrong to start with. So I went out and looked at it, and it's clearly not a wetland, the house is there. There's a pool behind the house, they want to put a deck between the house and the pool. It was a basically easy agency administration.
Okay,
What was the name of the road
It
crossbar?
was 69 Crossfield Road.
Crossfield, okay.
But those maps, you know, if you look at those maps, they were done by Flyover in the 70s,
yeah, I think so, they're old.
60s? They were like, you know, they were grasping at straws trying to figure out what wetlands were. So that's the last point I have. Right.
Okay. Anything else? So,
I move to adjourn this meeting.
I second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, technically, Ashley left anyways. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So I don't